Hi, I'm Dr. Aimie, and in this blog video we're going to continue the conversation that we've been having about the role of attunement in a therapeutic relationship in healing someone with a history of trauma. We've talked in previous weeks about how a therapeutic relationship does need to be established in order to repair that disruption of relationship that happens as a result of trauma. And attunement in the therapeutic relationship does exactly that. It helps a person reestablish a connection, a relationship, not only with you and then with other people once they have that with you, but it also helps them repair the relationship with themselves. They get very disconnected inside themselves. And as well as with a spiritual, presence that, as they say in 12-step groups, a spiritual power or spiritual being greater than themselves that some people call God. All of these relationships get repaired through the therapeutic relationship that they establish with someone. Maybe you are the one helping them with that. So as we understand the need for attunement within a therapeutic relationship, we need to understand clearly what attunement is, which we talked about last week. And this week we're going to go over what attunement is not, because there are some common pitfalls that people fall into, parents and professionals, when it comes to attuning. And if we make these mistakes, the relationship no longer becomes therapeutic. It becomes hurtful, and it just continues the trauma cycle that they are in. It doesn't actually repair the relationship or connection with others. So there are 3 points that we're going to go over today. One is that attunement is not enmeshment. And the big point with that is that even though they are experiencing a lot of pain, emotions, that stays theirs and doesn't become ours. Second point is that attunement is not codependency. They maintain their personal responsibility and power over their life, and we do not do things for them out of pity that they can do for themselves. The third point that we're going to go over today is that attunement is not a loss of your own personal responsibility, position, and power in your life, meaning that you don't lose your role and position, whatever that is, whether parent, professional, which is usually a position of authority in their life. You don't lose that authority by attuning. You don't lose that to become their buddy or their friend or their peer. It's really helpful, in fact, if the therapeutic relationship is with someone who is in a position of authority, because understanding, feeling understood, seen, heard, and aligned with by someone who they perceive as stronger than they are is very healing for a person with a history of trauma. So let's go over those 3 in a little more detail. Attunement is not enmeshment. Attunement is going to be joining them in their emotional state. And there's a couple different emotional states that we've talked about. And really, when we talk about emotional states, we're really talking about nervous system states. So they can either be relaxed and in social engagement system, which scientifically is called the ventral, vagal, or parasympathetic system. And then there is the survival response system, and that's broken up into the sympathetic response, which is the fight or flight, and then the freeze response, which is also called the dorsal vagal or the vagal freeze response. And so those are the 3 main emotional or nervous system states that a person is in, that you will be joining them there in order to attune with them. And so if they hate something, we're going to hate something. We're going to help them feel that it's normal to feel overwhelmed, like they want to give up, like they just want to collapse and hide and isolate. And by attuning with them, by joining them in that state, aligning with them, they don't isolate, because you're with them. And so that's the power of attunement and the therapeutic relationship. But their pain, their emotional state, even though we join them there, it does not become us. It does not become ours. And so their pain stays their pain. Their problem stays their problem. And we can attune with them, but we don't take it on as ours. So that naturally leads to the next point, which is attunement is definitely not codependency. And this is where, again, all three of these are common pitfalls. And if you have noticed a pattern in your life where when you emotionally connect with other people, you have a tendency to take their pain on, or as in codependency, start doing things for them that they should or could do for themselves, then that's actually a characteristic of someone who has trauma, unresolved trauma themselves in their nervous system, and is more chronically in the freeze state. So that might be something that you want to look at healing in yourself first before going into starting a therapeutic relationship with someone else, if you've noticed these tendencies towards enmeshment or codependency. Nothing to be ashamed of, right? That's, I think, the whole point of trauma, is that there is no shame. And once we understand why we have these responses, why our nervous system is doing this, and that it's out of our control, to the point that in the moment it's out of our control, but we do have the power and the control to be able to start healing and using the tools and the knowledge that we have to heal our system, so that later on we can become a stable person with a healthy enough nervous system in order to be able to attune with people without losing ourselves in the process, without taking on their pain or starting to feel so sorry for them that we take away their personal responsibility and power and start doing things for them that they should be doing for themselves. So I want to make that very clear, that attunement, while it is joining them in their emotional state, aligning with them on a heart level, on a gut level, connecting with them and helping them feel seen, heard, understood, validated, and normalizing their response, but it is not taking on their emotional state, and it is not taking away their personal responsibility and power. The third point is that attunement is not losing our own personal responsibility and power. And in this instance, I'm referring to your position, your role in their life. And usually this is when you're the parent, or you're the professional, you're the therapist. In my case, you're the doctor. And so you're in a position of authority in their life. And I am now going to be starting to develop a therapeutic relationship with this person. I don't stop becoming their doctor in order to attune with them. I don't step away from that role. I don't step out of that role. I stay in that role and attune. And we've talked about this some before, how a person with a history of trauma has a hard time trusting, because they fear that not only may you hurt them, but that you may not protect them from other people who can hurt them. And so in creating a therapeutic relationship, you don't lose that sense of inner strength, inner power, emotional stability that they need to see in you and experience in you in order to even trust you, to open up their heart and let some of your love start to come in. Yes, a friend, a peer can create a therapeutic relationship with someone. However, when it comes from a position of authority, the healing happens much faster, because they are naturally in a place where they're going to trust you easier, because you are in that position of authority. And again, we're not misusing the position of authority, because that would break their trust all over again. They need to see that, experience that strength and attunement at the same time. It's not one or the other. It's not that I lose my authority, lose my position in their life in order to attune. It's simultaneous. It's attuning with the authority or the position or the role that I have in their life. So those are the 3 points that we need to make about attunement in this week's blog. Attunement is not an enmeshment. Their pain stays their pain, even though I can join them in their emotional state. I don't take on their pain as mine. Attunement is not codependency. I am not taking away their personal responsibility and power, and I'm not going to feel sorry for them and do things for them that they should be doing for themselves. And nor is attunement a loss of my own personal responsibility, power, authority, and role in their life. It's a simultaneous expression of whatever it is, strength, authority, and attunement at the same time. So I welcome any questions. Again, these are common pitfalls, so I expect there to be questions about this, and feel free to ask, feel free to email, whatever works best for you in order to feel safe enough to ask questions that you want to ask. Thank you.